Yarok the Desecrated versus Zurgo Bellstriker. And you'll never guess who showed up to the party again. Always draw into Woodland Bellower in this deck. Let's keep that. We've got 3 lands. And we can get some more mana with the Wood Elves. But I don't know if we're going to be able to drag this game out for very long, because Zurgo Bellstriker is typically a rush burn style deck. It is a 2/2 for 1. It can't block creatures with power 2 or greater, and you can dash it into play for 2 mana. Let's shock in the breeding pool and see if we can stick a Dryad Arbor without it getting burned. If we keep our Dryad Arbor, it means we can go in for Wood Elves next turn. Yarok the Desecrated is 5 mana in Sultai for a 3/5 Death Touch lifelink. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes the triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, then it triggers an additional time. And a Mox Amber coming into play, that does tap for mana, thanks to the legendary creature being in play. And yeah, certainly rushing us. They've only got 4 cards left in hand, but we can't do anything about any of this currently. Let's just get down the snow-covered island and we'll go in for a Wood Elves. And then we can see about getting our commander down next turn. The good thing about having Yarok in the command zone is that it is a 3/5, so having a big toughness is probably going to be relevant against mono red, but it also has lifelink, so it might make it difficult for our opponent to swing in. Now, what do they want to do with Chandra? They're making mana and going in for Goblin Instigator, definitely looking to go wide on us. I think Wood Elves is going to swing in at Chandra this turn, so let's leave that be for now. Which land is this? Okay, that's a man land for 4 mana. Let's just go in for Yarok, and then hopefully we can get enough bodies in the way of this onslaught with the Woodland Bellower next turn. We will swing in at Chandra and see if they want to block. Yep, deciding to trade creatures there. Chandra can minus down and deal 4 damage to a target creature. So we're actually not going to block with anything here. See if they've got another burn spell in hand. Yep, they have a lightning bolt. That makes things more difficult. And then add in some more mana, and there is their hand officially empty. If we go in for a board wipe next turn, then that will be really good. Now, just getting into a land, that feels bad. What can we do here? I think we just need to go Tropical Island. And we will get down the Cloud of Fairies just to get another blocker into play. But our opponent's got us here because we can't get rid of that Hell Rider. So let's just go Woodland Bellower. And I don't think we can gain life here. Nah, there's nothing we can do. We will just get down the Risen Reef for the fun of it. We do get into a land. And we've just been too slow this game, unfortunately. The Hell Rider coming down is a game changer. And they get into a Soul Ring off the top with Chandra as well. Yeah, this has been a god hand for our opponent. Yeah, the Hell Rider is whenever a creature they control attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that it is attacking. Wow, and then they get down a Goblin Lord as well. Yeah, that's a very good showing by our opponent. Probably should have cycled the Cloud of Fairies there and tried to get into a board wipe. But yeah, we just seem to be drawing into lands and ramp that game. Yeah, the Shufflers just wanting to feed us lots of mana. Look at all that. How many lands in a row? Let's keep going and see how long it takes to draw into something. Well, yeah, there's the other cards. But we were not drawing into any kind of interaction that game, so I don't feel too badly about not cycling the Cloud of Fairies. Anyway, let's get on with the real one. Playing first against our occultist friend, Yarok the Desecrated, and up against the very powerful Animar Soul of Elements. Yeah, this might be another very one-sided game, we'll see what happens. Gonna go in for the Urborg first, just in case we get into blue and we want to go for Baleful Strix. Alright, just getting into another black, so in that case we will get down the Wall of Omens. This will draw us a card, and hopefully we can get into some blue. Nope, just another black. Nissa goes for a basic forest, so we can't get blue with her, but we will play the Nissa and at least get another land into our hand. Lifecrafter's Bestiary comes down off of the Ancient Tomb, and unfortunately we have an Urborg in play, so that will keep our opponent from having to put too much life into there. Should go for Wasteland here onto the Ancient Tomb, but not that kind of player, so anyone who's spikier than I am acknowledging that play. Grab a forest and keep our fingers crossed for a blue mana next turn. Animar Soul of Elements is a 3-mana Temur commander, a 1/1 with pro white and black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a plus counter on it, and creatures cost a generic less per plus counter on Animar. We're struggling to do anything now. I think we do actually need to wasteland that Ancient Tomb just to slow our opponent down in this case, because we are not getting into blue. And then let's swing in with the Nissa and pass back over to our opponent. Vesuva comes down as a snow-covered forest. They can copy our lands with that, hence the reason they went for that play. Growing Rites of Itlamok is the only thing we can do here, so let's have a look and see if we can get into anything useful. Well, there's the snow-covered island, and there is nothing else for us to grab. We are not being very lucky with this Yarok the Desecrated deck this time. Let's just go for green and swing back in with Nissa Vastwood Seer. I dare say we're going to be seeing Animar next turn. Nope, deciding to go for a Wood Elves, and I imagine they'll put a green into Lifecrafter's Bestiary here. Whenever they cast a creature spell, they can do that to draw a card. Alright, Kodama's Reach could have done with that last turn, but I can't really complain. We are desperate for something like a Kodama's Reach. We'll go for a couple of islands here. One can go into play tapped, one goes onto the battlefield, and then we can get down our Baleful Strix and draw another card. Okay, Fierce Empath could get us into something big and obnoxious for our opponent. I'm going to hold back. No, I won't bother holding back the Nissa. If they want to chump with the Wood Elves, then that's fine, because it means they can't equip up the Sword of Sinew and Steel. But we can block that with the Wall of Blossoms anyway. They've only got one artifact to blow up currently, and getting rid of Baleful Strix isn't the worst thing for us. Down comes Animar, and they are not going to equip up with the Sword of Sinew and Steel. It has protection from black built in anyway, so they don't really need to do that. And they don't need to worry about red against Sultai. So they might as well draw a card there, I suppose. Oh, a Gaia's Cradle as well, and the best thing is that it's switched on even after a board wipe thanks to the Urborg. So they can go for Wood Elves anyway here, but they decide not to swing in. Oh yeah, well that makes sense, because it's only a 3/3 against a 0/4. Now, a Villainous Wealth might be really useful. Let's play a land first, and we will get our commander down. Oh, we're actually going to flip Nissa first. So let's allow that to happen, then we will go for Yarok. And then Cloud of Fairies will come down, and that will allow us to tap, or untap even, 4 lands instead of just the normal 2. Let's go for 6 cards in our opponent's hand. They could bulk Animar up quite a ways. Yeah, let's just plus Nissa for the card advantage. Alright, getting a land into play. I'm going to save cracking that for the Avenger of Zendikar. So let's play the Cloud of Fairies. That will trigger twice. And we will untap 2 lands on 2 different occasions. And then let's go for the Fierce Empath here. And we'll pretend to hold up Counter Magic as well. Get to look for 2 big creatures with Fierce Empath of CMC 6 or more. I think a Duplicant would be handy against Animar. Let's go Duplicant and Progenitor Mimic, then we can get multiple Duplicants going. If we get into enough mana, that is. Alright, and with that, I think we might as well swing in with the Baleful Strix because we can't block with it. Not with protection from black flying around. Oh, and then the Growing Rites of Itlamok flips as well. I forgot about that, so we've got a Gaia's Cradle of our own now. So we should be able to get some good stuff going next turn. A Duplicant and then a Progenitor Mimic onto Duplicant sounds good. Or we could save Progenitor Mimic for the Woodfall Primus and start going after our opponent's lands. I don't really like doing that, but we are up against Animar. It depends on how broken a turn they have here. Getting down a Mirror Pool. And they can copy an instant or sorcery or create a token of a creature they control. Okay, what is this? Selvalis Stampede. Each player votes for wild or free. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card for each wild vote. And they go on the battlefield. And you can put a permanent from your hand onto the battlefield for each free vote. Now then, does our opponent have something really good in hand? I don't know what the advised vote is here, really. They haven't stacked the top of their library. So I'm going to go... Yeah, so I'm going to go for wild here. They get down an Agent of Treachery. I'm guessing that was from the library, because they've still got 5 cards in hand. Oh wow, and then they get down a Tyrant's Familiar. That has +2/+2, and whenever it attacks, it deals 7 damage to a creature. That's probably going in at Yarok. So I think the Duplicant and Progenitor Mimic plan is good. Ah no, they're actually stealing the Yarok with the Agent of Treachery. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents you don't own, then you draw 3 cards. Yeah, we might have to exile our own Yarok here just to recast it. Alright, they're just going in at our face with the Tyrant's Familiar, and it is blasting away the Wall of Blossoms. Yeah, they're coming in at us. Actually, I would rather that than Nissa. Nissa is good card advantage here. And I want to keep as many creatures in play to keep the Gaia's Cradle switched on. So I'm not going to block with the Cloud of Fairies here. Icefang Coatl, that has Flash, that's worth remembering. We've got 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 mana. And we can make another mana by throwing out a creature with Nissa, so we will do that because I do want to go for Duplicant and Progenitor Mimic here. So here's a Duplicant going onto the Dragon. Only getting 1 of each trigger now, thanks to our Yarok being stolen. And then Progenitor Mimic goes onto the Duplicant, coming in as a copy of it, and we will get another copy of Duplicant next turn. Let's exile Yarok, just so they don't get any ETB effects, and it also gets that back into our command zone. And then we can just swing in with some flyers. You never know when a couple of points of damage is going to be relevant. And we will pass like that. Now, a Flame-Tongue Carvu. And they can draw a card with that if they want to. I think they're just deciding to currently. That will, I think it's Flame Slash, isn't it? 4 damage to a creature. That's 4 damage to a creature when it enters anyway. And it's also a plus counter on Animar because it is a creature. Now, they can go after our Progenitor Mimic here because it has 4 damage, or 4 toughness even. So it only takes 4 damage to take that down, and yep, that makes total sense. Luckily, we've got more tricks up our sleeve after this. I think Woodfall Primus onto that Gaia's Cradle is going to be a good idea. Drawing a card off of Thassa with the Lifecrafter's Bestiary. And Animar usually has some kind of pseudo-unblockable anyway, but this thing can give your creatures unblockable for 2 mana. So if Animar gets big enough, that's something we need to remember. And then the Wood Elves is coming in at us. They are going to be able to blow up our Duplicant here. They've got protection from Oh, it can't be blocked, and they've got pro black and red, so they're probably going after our duplicant here. And they can get rid of Nissa as well, because it's a planeswalker and an artifact they can get rid of here. So that's some really good value off of the Sword of Sinew and Steel. A Noxious Gearhulk cannot get rid of either of these two creatures. I'm not really worried about the other two. What do we want to do here? I think we can go for Avenger of Zendikar to make lots of mana off the Growing Rites of Itlimoc. And then go for Woodfall Primus after that. Yeah, we get a bunch of mana off of the Growing Rites of Itlimoc now. Or the Itlimoc, Cradle of the Sun. Let's go Woodfall Primus. And if we keep all our creatures in play, this sets us up for a really nice Villainous Wealth next turn. Unfortunately not doubling up on all these triggers, but we're at a point where we need to really be dealing with our opponent's board, and they scoop to that. That surprises me. They've still got a really good board state, but yeah, they've got 7 cards in hand. How strange. We would have drawn into Nissa Vital Force next turn. I think that was a Villainous Wealth, so we would have gone in for, that would be 20 mana into X, I think. Let's see if it will let us go in for 20 cards. Hopefully you all enjoyed that Yarok the Desecrated game. We got hammered in game 1, and then our opponent decided to scoop early, which is just an unfortunate thing for Magic Online. Any of you that have been around here for any length of time will realise that I struggle with that. But we got to show off some cool interactions from both Animar and Yarok, so hopefully you got some enjoyment from it anyway. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel, and please don't ever forget that law is love, and love is light, and light is right, under the might of the Deku tree. Thank you for watching.